Happiness is being in the right place at the right time and being where you should be at that time. In any business, you kind of crave something fresh to reignite your passion again. So I said to myself, well, what makes me happy?
One day she comes up with this idea and says, wouldn't it be great if I take a group of women somewhere nice and motivate them?
I love Tuscany. So I thought, well, what if I invite women from around the world and they come and they share my villa with me? But I didn't have a house. So I was like, oops.
I mean, it's a huge commitment and it's going to take most of our savings.
As I think there's people dead in here somewhere.
There probably are.
Here you're restoring a 13th century property from the ground up. It's hard work, but it's so exciting.
Tutto brutto.
Tutto brutta. I'm the most difficult, right?
Well, you are not easy, I have to tell you.
People like working with me. I'm very sweet and nice. Dolce Debbie, sweet. I am nowhere near ready.
I need help!
Do you get to the stage where you think, well, you know, what have I done? I've got a speech on Monday, and I talk mostly about inspiring people to kind of follow their dream and be successful. I guess I've got an audience who followed me over the years through whether it's the television shows or the design or the running of a company.
So it's full.
I'm going home.
No, you're not. You can't go yet.
Please welcome Debbie Travis.
Women, they tend to want to hear true stories about your failings, your stress, you know, the way you did it. How did you handle your family? How did you handle marriage? How did you handle, you know, it's a big package for women. Whereas I think with men, it's more like, how do I make a lot of money? I'm always asked about fear. Am I afraid to start new ventures? Am I afraid to pitch a project? Am I afraid, you know, to do a new show? No. Nervous, yes, worried, yes, but never afraid. But it's all about dreaming it, doing it, and living it. I think basically my story is maybe every other woman's story. You know, I left school at 16, so I'm highly uneducated. That's not most women, but that's me. Growing up till about the age of 12 was really a very happy childhood in the north of England. And it was fairly idyllic. I was a child when my dad died. And my mum was left with 4 children, and my brother was 6 months old. So I was kind of put into a mother's role at a very young age. And it was overwhelming to watch her unhappiness. But she survived as a 33-year-old with 4 children under 12 through her friends. And I watched that support as a growing girl, you know, and I think that never left me, how important it is to have that support around you. But I really wanted to get out of this kind of village life. So I think I was 17 when I arrived in London with a suitcase. Basically, I fell into modeling, but I was one of the first batches of girls to go to Tokyo. To go to Japan in those days as a young girl, especially where I came from, was just unheard of. I think when you're young, you never really realize what you're doing. It's only when you look back and you're like, well, you know, did I do that? There, I'm very young. Some photographer told me to take my top off. Oh, all the girls do it. Now I look back and I think, God, yeah, I was quite pretty, but no, I absolutely had no confidence whatsoever. I was never a natural great model. I had a cute face and that was kind of about it. But I loved doing TV commercials because I loved the action that was going on behind the scenes. And I ended up kind of interning for the BBC and other TV networks. And then I started my own little production company, of which I made no money at all. But I met Hans at the film festival because I took my project to the south of France.
It was love at first sight. I didn't understand what she saw in me, quite frankly.
Met Hans on the first night, and married him a few weeks later. Complete professional.
We had a whirlwind romance, and it was just magical. I knew within hours that's the woman I wanted to spend my life with.
And I suddenly arrived in this strange, very cold country and didn't know anybody.
We decided right from the get-go that we wanted children, and we had them very fast. Josh, our first one, and 15 months later we had Max.
So within 18 months, I'd met a guy, married him, moved countries and had 2 children. And my life was like spinning.
She was tremendously homesick. She left behind her friends, her business, and she left behind a whole industry that she was breaking into.
I had to make some money, so I got myself a bucket and a ladder, and I started painting people's houses. And we'd bought an old house, and I'd done a lot of these paint finishes in it, which I'd learned how to do in England. And suddenly people started asking me. And I did it for a few years, and it got quite exhausting going up and down ladders. And, you know, my kids were like, "Mummy, why do you smell of paint thinner?" So suddenly one day, I thought, why don't I make a video showing people how to do this? And this video was a runaway success.
Decorative paint finishes made easy.
Welcome to my studio. I'm Debbie Travis.
And that started her career. That little video, and if you look at it today, you're thinking impossible. It is terrible.
Simply follow my basic rules and recipes, and you too will soon be creating great paint effects.
And she pitched a show based on that.
On the next show, we'll decorate a room, a basement, a 300-year-old kitchen, loft space. And the painted house would take a room each episode and do it up. Over the last year, I have renovated my kitchen and my basement. Now, I've had lots of help from the family, but now they're absolutely fed up with living in a mess.
You want to do what?
Let's get started. And then, after 7 years, it is revolting. I decided to stop the painted house and start Facelift. The following show is all real.
Ready?
We're ripping this place apart.
Facelift was the first reality design show where we turned the cameras on ourselves. And then other things started to come. I'm honouring an unsung hero with a surprise. Like the book deals, the newspaper deals, product line deals.
I'm so glad you know how to paint.
And then bigger shows, network shows. And then it started to get, you know, a little bit deja vu.
We're gonna do the breathing new life into your wicker patio furniture.
I have to remember all the giveaways, don't I? Okay, take your time. I started, I can't say to get bored, but I was getting frustrated and I was edgy, and I'm a very enthusiastic person, and I was no longer enthusiastic. If you're happy, you're needed. If you're needed, you're happy. So I said to myself, well, what makes me happy? Well, women make me happy, not in that way, you know, but maybe one day, you know, I just like being with women. I always have. I like women's company.
So one day she comes up with this idea and saying, wouldn't it be great if, you know, I took a group of women somewhere nice and motivate them.
So I was doing a speech and I said, this is what I want to do. I love Tuscany. I fell in love with it when we were filming. So I thought, well, what if I invite women from around the world and they come and they share my villa with me? And that's my dream. Suddenly I stopped speaking and there was this intake of breath that only women can do. You know, this cry that comes from the gut. And his hands were shooting up. It was like a religious thing. Take me, take me. Then I was getting emails off men saying, take her, take her.
Debbie Travis, everyone.
And within a few days I was full, but I didn't have a house. So I found a villa and I rented it and I did a retreat there. And from that retreat I knew that we were onto something. You smell the fresh mint? You can either do this by hand. Like I said, if you don't wear gloves, your hands will get really soft because of the oil. So the idea is, look, they're falling off pretty much on their own, but you comb it. Isn't that great?
Can you reach that one? I don't know.
was the pleasure of seeing other people's pleasure. It's the most amazing feeling in the world to make people happy. And it was that happiness that made me happy. And it was like, whoa, this is amazing.
And he gets very competitive after a while. He's got the most.
So after doing this experiment, renting a property, we knew we needed a property that would house, you know, a gaggle of women.
Debbie had a very particular idea in her head of what she wanted our dream house to look like. And finding a place was going to be really, really tough.
Come on.
Left, over this little bridge.
Are you sure that's the right road?
I'm not sure. Stop. Let me ask that guy. Stop. Hang on. Excuse me. Let me ask him.
He looks like a local.
Well, like anybody, you know, we were putting pins in the map. And Italy's not a huge country, but it's in a very, very varied country. You go 20 minutes and the landscape completely changes. The people change, the food changes.
So what did he say?
Just keep going down here, the Bianca Strada Bianca. So follow the white road.
They're all Bianca.
He says there's an old ruin on the left that his old uncle owned, I don't know, 100 years ago or something.
Look at that beautiful place over there.
Keep your eyes on the road. Seriously.
We had this wish list. The view, we wanted an old building, we wanted to see the sea, we wanted to see the mountains, we wanted to see vineyards.
We wanted room to
grow. We wanted room to grow. We wanted all this kind of stuff. And it would drive the agents crazy, right? We got blacked. We actually got blacked by the agents.
Look at that view.
Spectacular.
Oh my God, a little bit of work. Hans, I think there's people dead in here somewhere.
There probably are. Really? We've been told that the property you're looking for doesn't exist. So our job is to find the impossible. This is hundreds of years of urine and poo, and it's making me gag right now, but I think this place has potential. Wow, look at this.
There's probably snakes in here.
Can you imagine?
Look in here. Look at this, though. I've got a tree in my living room.
You go.
Come on. Oh, my God. I don't think this is for us. Oh, there's a mouse!
And how much are they asking?
400,000 for that.
Debbie said, I wanted to live amongst the Italians. So we started actually in the north, and then drove down here. We did this part.
Then we drove across.
Across to Umbria. We explored this area, this area, this area, this whole thing.
And there you got all the beaches. That's
right.
So we've driven right across Sicily.
And then we went back up here and we looked at this area here.
And then bit by bit, we started to hone in onto this one area of Tuscany. Tuscany is a very large region and it's known for its light because the light changes all the time. Every kind of 20 minutes, there's this beautiful light. So artists have always gone there. You've got amazing churches, you've got culture, you've got all these things. It's not just the big cities of Florence and Siena, but every village has something. Every village has 5 churches, 2 monasteries, a convent. It's a landscape that the eye keeps roaming and moving, taking you to the next thing and next thing, the little chapel, the Bianca Strada, the white gravel roads, the mists that hover over the valleys. And then, of course, there's the wine. So it's very famous for wines. There's abundance of nice wine.
Oh, yay. Okay, I'm with Jackie. We're just trying to decide next steps.
I've got one friend who really is my sister. Her name is Jackie Brown. And we've been friends since we were kind of 19, 20. And we met in Tokyo. We were models. And we ended up living together there.
And then we came back to London and we've been friends ever since. And that is, 35 years ago. So we stayed very close. Our children are the same sort of age. We got married around the same time. We've had quite parallel lives, except Debbie's was in Canada and mine was in London.
The problem is, if we take the dirt road, it might take us a lot longer.
Should we just go out for dinner?
Well, I decided with the retreat that I wanted to do it with Jackie. I needed the support. I needed a friend.
When Debbie suggested doing the retreat together, I jumped at it. It just sounded like such a great opportunity.
She said, OK, I'm in. We'll do it together. We stay in little B&Bs and drive and in and out of properties.
Middle of nowhere.
This would have been a very large farmhouse where the extended family would have lived upstairs.
So this could be like an amazing courtyard to eat in. Jackie, more wine, please. So most of these houses would have had a cantina where they did the wine and the
They would all have a
salamis and the
cantina.
cheese.
It's like for us today to have a pantry.
Wow. So this would have been the main kind of family room.
Yes, up here there would be a big fireplace. This is what remains of it.
You could have all the women sitting here in front of the fire, chatting about their day.
Each time you see something, you're trying to imagine, like everybody, what you're going to do with this place.
Sky.
We've got a skylight. Oh. Nick, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Nice meeting you.
So nice
Bye-bye,
to meet
Jackie.
you.
Nice
Bye-bye.
meeting you.
Thank
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Buongiorno.
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 Can we go through?
Yes, please.
Permesso?
Yes.
Grazie.
Yes, please.
That looks like an old well. So would this be the water for the house once?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Jackie, they've already got a pool.
Oh, I didn't bring my costume.
And Montepulciano is over there.
What is this?
This is so beautiful.
This is a corbezzolo.
You can eat these, can't you?
It's a very, very Italian tree. And I make a preserve,
Jam.
a jam that goes very well with game.
With game.
So beautiful. It's amazing. It just appears through the trees when you just walk through.
These are the original steps, which is the same travertine that you saw of the well.
So this is the library. What's that table? That is
This table is
priceless.
priceless.
You must have had some good dinners in here.
I think Niagara Falls
Is that
Boston.
really Niagara Falls? So Alex, how much are they asking for this?
Now 1.8.
So 1.8 million euros.
Yes. Which means 600,000 each.
We'll share.
And we scoured it. We went down every dirt road and we found nothing. And it was very difficult. And so bit by bit, I guess the dream started to crumble a little bit and we got a little bit fed up.
I hate it. Come on. We're not buying that one.
Okay. When Debbie gets very tired and frustrated and says, I've had enough, then I need to step up to the plate and convince her that it's going to happen. So I find a place that I think is perfect.
And Hans called me and he said,
It's a villa, a fantastic looking villa without buildings. And it's already running as a hotel. It was perfect.
kind of. I arrived very late at night, and when I woke up in the morning, there were these beautiful pink shutters, and I opened the shutters, and I hear, meow, meow. I was like, what's that? And, well, it's a bit of a main road. I look out, I'm on the main road into town.
It was a gorgeous property.
It doesn't matter, it wasn't right, because I opened the window, and I could hear traffic, and I'm not doing this listening to
It
traffic.
was very near a major road.
Yeah, it was on a major road.
But the house was spectacular.
It was right on the road where they change gear. So right outside that, it's like...
But the house
you know.
was spectacular.
Yeah, but it wasn't for us. Anyway, so we had a little bit of an argument, which I know it's hard to imagine, and I went for a walk. And
Because
instead
we
of
never argue.
walking into the town, I turned right. And there in front of me was this valley. And it was like this lump in my throat grew. You know, there was a knot in my stomach. The sun was shining, the birds were tweeting. It was like at the opening of a movie.
I get a phone call and says, you're going to have to come and find me. I said, where are you? I said, I'm not sure. I turned right and I found the most amazing valley. So I try and follow the directions. I found a tiny little dirt track. I followed it and there was Debbie at the end of it in the most amazing valley.
And the day I saw that valley,
You know, I was walking and I said, this is it.
So now we find a valley that we really, really like. The next challenge is finding a property. If there's nothing on the market, it's a whole other game. At that point, you are so
anything.
desperate that you'll try
And we did.
almost anything.
You believed in it more than I did. There's this amazing kind of church cathedral that sits at the base of Montepulciano. And the story is that it was built on an Etruscan site. And in the center of it is a circle. And they say if you take your shoes off and pray or dream or whatever it is you do, it will come true. There's actually holes in here. So many people have done this. Look at your socks. Nobody's going to make our wishes come true in striped socks.
What I need you to do is I need you to be real. Stop laughing, it's not that funny. I want you to concentrate. Imagine that you're meditating. I want you to think positively, and I want you to imagine the property we're going to find. We took off our shoes, we stood on the circle, we looked at each other, we closed our eyes, we held hands, and without doubt, I felt something. Can't describe it, but I felt something. I felt Debbie squeezing my hands. If you're asking me whether I believe in divine intervention guiding us to find this place, I would say absolutely yes. Yes? One Friday afternoon, I get a call. It's a friend from Tuscany. She tells me, Hans, you need to come immediately. There's a property that's kind of on the market that is perfect for you.
It's like we're in the middle of a vineyard.
We looked at the property together, and I'm watching Debbie's facial expressions.
I hate it. Oh, God.
She wants to have that wow factor, so it will take some time, quite a long time, and it will be expensive.
They really believe in their craft and doing it right. They bloody better.